Welcome to the online home fire safety check demonstration. We're going to be running through the tool to demonstrate elements that are important to the end user and those elements that are important to the fire and rescue services that are considering onboarding with this tool. The content you are about to see was created and developed in collaboration with those fire and rescue services who took part in the pilot study and the steering committee. The committee includes representatives of other fire and rescue services, the NFCC, SafeLinks and Fire Kills. As we work through the system, you will see the triage areas. The scores that they generate were also developed through the pilot study and the steering committee. There are some elements of personalisation throughout the process. The questions presented will change to reflect chosen options for the relevant fire and rescue service linked to the postcode that has been entered. Down the left of the screen, we have a menu that shows our progress as we work through the tool. To start the check and unlock the questions, first a postcode needs to be entered. This is important on two levels. First, it gives the end user a personalised safety check relevant to their local fire and rescue service. Second, it ensures that the correct fire and rescue service receives any referral form that has been generated. So now we can start the online home fire safety check. You can see that we are presented with two options. I can conduct the check on my own home, or I can choose to do so as a third party conducting the check for someone else. If I click that it is my own home, the questions are phrased to refer to my home. However, if I choose to conduct it for someone else, then once we've described our relationship to the occupant, the check will continue with the questions phrased as their home. The relationship categories were chosen out of discussion with the aforementioned partners. It was then also requested that we include an option to complete the checks as a fire service employee. Some fire and rescue services have expressed an interest in conducting the triage process with the public via their own telephone call staff. For demonstration purposes, we're going to select the NHS representative option. And straight away, the system now refers to the third party with their home instead of my home. We now start to build up a picture of the premises. We're going to demonstrate with a single story premises to show how the system adapts according to the specifics that are chosen, showing what is relevant or possible specific to the options selected. I'm choosing that the occupant has at least one smoke alarm fitted per floor. Here we can see that the landing option has been greyed out. This is in response to the fact that we have previously chosen a single-storey property and it therefore does not have any landings. I'll choose a few of the rooms that are present in this home, but leaving off a few of the rooms to ensure that the demonstration is not too lengthy. If the utility room is not selected, the appliances that would show in that room will appear when we get to the kitchen instead. The hoarding brings us into some of the more site-specific and person-specific elements that can be selected. The fire and rescue services within the pilot group had differing points of view on whether or not to include the hoarding as part of their triage. You will be able to decide for yourselves whether to include it in your implementation of the tool. If image 4 or above is selected, this will automatically break the threshold score for onward referral. We were asked to include an I am not sure option to allow for those occupants who would not be able to assess their own level of hoarding. Choosing this option will flag up a contact request to assess the premises further. Then we have the heating options. And now we start to look at who lives within the home. You can see that the children's categories cannot be selected until we have first added in the adult occupants. We selected these age ranges on the basis that they best summed up how children of different ages would affect and be affected by fire safety within the home, while also keeping the system streamlined. Within the disabilities and health conditions section, the options chosen may generate additional information where a fire hazard is identified. We have further options that look more at the occupants' lifestyles. As before, the subsequent information given is dependent on the categories selected. So here is the list of the triage questions. Because of the answers given, a referral form has been triggered. The first section here deals with the details of the referring person, partner, or agency. If I had filled in the fire safety check for my own home, I would only be presented with the second section of this form. We will quickly fill in the referrer part, ensuring a role is also selected. There is a free text box for noting any additional comments or concerns that might need special consideration. Examples may include if the occupant needs some kind of assistance during a home visit. But just as importantly, it provides a place to enter notes for the benefits of the fire and rescue service, especially any health and safety issues that they might encounter. We'll use the example of a dog being in the premises. This tick box requires the referrer to confirm that they have the occupant's consent to complete the form on their behalf. And we then fill in the details of the occupant. Then we are asked to confirm once more that we have consent to fill in and submit the form. Beneath this, we have an option to contact a third party. This is for the benefit of the occupant if any special arrangements need to be put in place if a home visit is required, such as a carer being present to assist with accessing and inspecting the property for reasons of age, frailty, or disability, for instance. So we have now submitted that referral form. The information is entered into the admin panel, and from there it is transferred over to the relevant fire and rescue service. This can be done either by way of an API or via an admin panel, depending on the IT infrastructure that each fire and rescue service has. The method of data transfer will be discussed as part of the onboarding process after the IT assessment has been conducted. This note here informs the user that the information is now locked in and has been submitted. This means it cannot be changed and is effectively a static snapshot of the premises at the time of submission. Here we have some advice about smoke alarms. Because we stated earlier in the system that the premises does have at least one smoke alarm per floor, the banner highlights the importance of regularly testing those alarms. As a top tip, and to encourage monthly testing, this link will take the user to a page where they can sign up to a free reminder service that will automatically notify them when the tests are due. The frequency can be increased if needed, and the alerts can be sent by email, SMS text, or both. Here we present a thank you for completing the first section and inform the user that they will be receiving a personal action plan at the end of the process. Now we can complete the individual room checks. We start with the kitchen. If we indicate that there are items near the cooker that could easily catch fire, we're shown advice on how to remove or reduce that fire risk. If we click No to state that this matter isn't a risk at these premises, we're instead shown a top tip. This could either be additional methods that could improve fire safety even further, or encouragement for the user to help others improve their fire safety. We'll just click through some of the other questions that build the picture of what happens in this kitchen. Here we see the question of the tumble dryer is raised. This is because we stated at the start of the check that the premises do not have a utility room. Microwavable wheat bags is another example of an opt-in question. This was flagged as an opt-in because some fire and rescue services felt it was very relevant to their catchment area, while others did not. With these opt-in questions, the system can be personalised to meet your needs. Upon completing the checks for this room, you'll see general advice, as well as the first elements of the bespoke advice. This is raised because we indicated early in this system that at least one occupant has a visual impairment, and the advice given is related to that impairment within the kitchen environment. We now move on to the living room. You'll see that after every question there is an advice section. Refracted light is another of the opt-in questions. At the end of the questions for the living room, we have a more extensive list of specific advice banners. As with the kitchen, these are generated from the options we chose near the beginning of the check and only appear if relevant to the occupant's situation and premises. Naturally, rooms with an inherently lower fire risk have fewer questions. The bathroom is of course very quick to complete, as are the hallway and landing. And now we can see that the home fire safety check has been completed, thanking the user for taking part. There is an option for the user to complete a short survey that will allow us to assess how effective the system is and helps us to see how it can be improved in the future. The user is given a choice between downloading and printing their personal action plan. All of the information is shown below for immediate reference. If you would like any further information on this tool, you can visit the NFCC website, where there is an overview of the home fire safety check, along with answers to a series of frequently asked questions which cover most queries. Alternatively, you can contact Lisa Ellams, who is the Communications and Engagement Officer at NFCC. Or if you would like to begin onboarding, you can email hfsc@safelinks.co.uk.